So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another round of GT1 Racing United Racers League. We are coming to you live from beautiful Florida at the Sebring International Raceway, where the drivers of the GT1 League will battle it out for championship points here. And boy, I gotta tell you, this track for GT1 cars is going to be a test of drivers' mettle as well as the resiliency of these cars. Sebring International Raceway, known as one of the greatest racing venues in all of motor racing, a 17-turn course. It was established back in the 1950s, and the track has undergone several layout changes as well as surface changes. But for the majority of this racetrack, the surface remains the same from back in the 1950s. The concrete runways, Sunset Bend, turn 17, which is one of the most notorious bends in all of motor racing, which loves to chew up tires. Mid-engine cars probably going to have a bit of a struggle here as temperatures start to climb steadily later on in the race. If we don't end up with some rain, these tires will probably wear out, especially with the mid-engine cars. So car setup and balance are going to be all important here. And these drivers are going to have to make the best of the racing line. Getting off the racing line, any part of this track can cause you to kind of just fall out of the race contention. Not something that these guys want to do here with these points battles that are starting to heat up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump on board for a lap around the Sebring circuit, as right now we're still in practice, closing out practice session number 2. So we're going to go ahead and jump on with a GT1 car for a lap around Sebring to give you guys a lowdown on this circuit. Our lap around the Sebring race course starts on the front start-finish straight, heading onto the left-handed sweeper turn 1. Taking this turn tight at first and swinging wide sets you up for the turns 2, 3, 4, 5 complex. Here you want to maximize cornering speed to get in and out quickly. Next up, we have turn 6, Big Bend. This is a 45-degree sweeping turn, and you can run this flat out. Coming up to the turn 7 hairpin provides ample overtaking opportunity for the drivers. A quick right-left chicane style complex sets you out onto Fangio. Turns 8 and 9 are flat out on the throttle as you then come up to turn 10 Cunningham. A tight second gear right-hander where corner exit speed is vital. Turn 11 Collier is a left-handed sweeper turn leading up to turns 12 and 13 at the tower. It's a straight run down to turn 14 Bishop, which is more of a kink in the road. This right-left-handed turn 15 will test the abilities of some of these GT1 cars here tonight. Turn 16 Le Mans sets you up for the long run down the back straight. Here, some drivers will get a chance to relax and perhaps set up their XD program for pit strategies. The last turn 17 at Sunset Bend is going to be all important, as your entry and exit here will determine your lap times and front straight top speed. And this concludes our lap here at Sebring. So there you have it, a lap in the Viper around the Sebring circuit. We are going to take it live now to the qualifying session that just started about 2 minutes ago. On board with Miko Korkiakowski right now. We're going to go take a look back, see who's out there for the first hot lap to be started. It's going to be Reinhard Berger, it looks like. Reinhard Berger racing out of Germany, driving the Corvette C6R. one yet to set a hot lap right now for provisional pole. We do have 15 minutes total qualifying session here tonight. Peter Bacchus driving the Leicester Storm. Juan Joubert. Steen Mikkel Olsen. Manilo Ligori. Oh, and Florian Kutz looks like he had a bit of a hang-up there. Mikhail Klisch. Dragan Kosanic. Greg Metcalf driving another Corvette. Nikola Simic driving the very colorful, what we call the circus Lamborghini. Miguel Santiago Carao driving the Ferrari 550 Maranello. And Alex Scott in a Maserati MC12. Florin Manolac in the, looks like that's the McLaren F1 sitting in the pits. Alex Fennell now taking to the track in the Ford GT1. Dubravko Brzancic driving one of the Salines around this track. And herein is one of the cars that I was referring to a little bit earlier, folks. This is a mid-engine car that is notorious for chewing up rear tires, especially with high temperatures. So we're going to have to keep an eye on what this pit strategies for some of these guys driving these mid-engine cars is going to be here tonight. Anze Rast sitting in the pits with the Ferrari F40. Sando Donadel driving the Nissan GT1. Fabio Bartolai driving the other McLaren F1. So, going back to timing and scoring, looks like Reinhard Berger sets the early pace with a 152.604, and Tony Ukic right behind him with a 152.713. Juan Joubert with a 152.930. So your top three right now running very, very close. Mikko Kurkiakowski goes ahead and sets a 153.137 for fourth spot, and Mikhail Klisch with a 153.450 for fifth. On board with Reinhard. Little bit of a bobble there by Reinhard. Don't think it's going to mess up his time too much. So Reinhard down the backstretch coming to Sunset Bend. Again, this is one of the most notorious turns in all of motor racing, because although it's a long sweeper, you'd think that it's easy to take, but it is not. These cars have to stay on top of their game to get that corner just right, maximize exit corner speed, get down that front straight, cross that start-finish line, and Reinhard will set a new fastest lap with a 152.589. And we'd like to welcome our viewers in the chat room for the web broadcast that is live right now. Welcome, everybody. So on board with Tony Ukic right now, he's on a hot lap. First sector 42.566. Tony trying to best that time set by Reinhard Berger, driving the Corvette C6R. Entry and corner exit speed, all important around this circuit. Very bumpy. So he's 5/100ths of a second off the pole pace right now. So Tony Ukic on a very, very good lap with an opportunity here in Sector 2 to make up some time, but it looks like the bottom of his car is scraping on some of those high sections of the track. Not good, because that will scrub speed off of your time. Tony Ukic going around one of the Salines there. We'll stay on board with Tony to see how he does for the second sector. Oh, and he loses it with a big lurch. That's going to ruin his chances at the pole position. 2/100ths of a second off. Without that lurch, I believe he would have had the pole pace. So Tony Ukic looking very racy out there in the Leicester Storm. Going down the back stretch into Sunset Bend now. This is going to be all important. And again, you see the sparks coming off the left side. It goes a little bit wide. That is going to hurt his chances here at pole. Pole 152.589. And Tony pushing it ever so much. He's about half a second off the pace there. On board with Juan Hubert. Juan Hubert, who last week, 2 weeks ago at Fuji, was having a phenomenal run, but after the pit cycles, things just did not work out according to his plan. I believe that he's got a plan here tonight for Sebring. And Juan Hubert, racing out of South Africa. Sorry about that, folks. I inadvertently hit my mute button and was having a conversation with myself here. So we'll go on board with P6, current P6 driver Michał Klisz. Michał driving out of Poland. This is truly an international flavored sport here, folks. We have people from various countries, quite a few as a matter of fact. It's just a testament to the international flavor of the United Racers League. So Michał working the second sector right now around Sebring. We'll jump on board with him. Trying to best of time of 1 minute 12.35775 seconds. Oh, and he catches the grass. Not gonna happen for Michał this time. Alex Scott about 0.04 of a second off the pole pace. Reinhard Berger still besting the time, 152.365. Peter Backus with a 152.709 and Tony Ukic 152.713. Juan Hubert with a 152.930. So your top four separated by less than 1 second. About 0.06 of a second separating your top four right now. So Alex Scott right now pushing it hard as he can. Trying to get a good run here. 1:43 coming around Sunset Bend. He's going to need better than that to take the provisional pole away from Reinhard. Nope. So currently, provisionally, Reinhard Berger in P1 holding the pole position. Peter Backus in second. Tony Ukic in third. Juan Hubert in fourth. Mikko Korkiakowski, he now works his way up to fifth. Michał Klisz in sixth. Nikola Simic in seventh. Steen Mikkelolsen in eighth. Alex Scott currently running ninth. Florian Kutz currently running 10th. Dragan Kosanic in P11. Miguel Santiago Carao in 12. Greg Metcalf 13. Manilo Liguri in P14. Fabio Bartolai 15. Bravko Brzancic in 16th, Sando Donadel 17, Florian Manolok in 18, Alex Funel in 19th, Anze Rast in 20. That is your order for today right now, folks. Not sure if anybody else is going to join during Quali 2, anybody that might not have been able to make it, but we're looking at 20 drivers for Sebring tonight. So with a little under 3 minutes left of qualifying, Reinhard Berger now going down the back straight and takes Sunset Bend way wide. Not sure exactly what happened there. I think he's going to give it one last shot at a hot lap. sector split time for pole right now. Oh, Reinhardt taking it a little bit wide around that corner. He's going to lose some time. Does not look good for pole chances. And we've seen some drivers here tonight that are able to make up some time in Sector 2. So he's just 2/100ths of a second off the pole pace right now. Can he make up that time here in Sector 2? Looks like he was on a smoking lap, but one small mistake in Sector 1 has put him off the pole pace. Sector 2 split for pole. Can Reinhardt better his time? And he does. He is now up on the pole pace by almost 2/100ths of a second. Last parts of real estate that Reinhard Berger needs to conquer for a new pole time. Will he be able to do it? We're going to stay on board and see as he comes into Sunset Bend again. The most challenging part of the track. He takes it inside. Gets back on that throttle. This could be a new fastest lap record. Oh no, he misses it by about 8/100ths of a second. So now Tony Ukic coming up on Sector 2 split. About 1/100th of a second off the pole pace right now for Tony Ukic, driving the venerable Lister Storm car. This is a 5-gear car as opposed to the other six-speed transmissions that are on some of these other GT1 cars. Oh, takes it wide, loses a little bit of time. I don't think he's going to be able to better the time on pole. Nope, it's not gonna make it happen. Peter Bacchus, P3, also on a hot lap. A little bit of a bobble. We caught up with him now. He's 4/100ths of a second off the pole pace as we look back at Peter Bacchus. Peter now down the back straight coming into Sunset Bend. Qualifying session has ended. Will he have enough time to get this lap in? Let's see. It doesn't look like he's got enough for pole. Not coming out of the corner there with a 146. He's going to end up with something about a 154 on this lap. There's the checker flag indicating the end of the qualifying runs. Ends up with about a 152. Let's see here. We'll go and take his 152.9. So that is going to be it for qualifying, folks. We are now switching over to qualifying 2, where the drivers that have not been able to join do get an opportunity to join for the race. However, they will, if anybody does join, will be starting from the back of the pack. And we have 3 cars that did not put in a qualifying run. Not exactly sure why. Florin Manolak, Alex Fennell, and Anze Ross did not put in a qualifying run. So they will be starting from the pack. Anybody joining during Quali 2 will now have to start beyond them. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back for the warm-up session. So we are back from our little break, and we are just closing out the qualifying 2 session. We did see that Kim Damholt did join the roster for tonight's Sebring GT1 race. So welcome, Kim, to the group, and we hope to see great things from you as we now move over to warm-up. So typically, what do we see during warm-up? So most drivers will take this opportunity to practice their starts as well as their pit ins. Now, what is special about the pit in here at Sebring? Well, nothing really. I mean, the pit in on this version of the track that we are currently running starts on the front start-finish straight. There is no kink in the pit entry. However, you want to maximize your pit entry speed. And this can be tricky because these GT1 cars, 600 horsepower, are capable of some serious speeds. You don't want to overcook it coming into the pit entry as well, because you will get a stop and go penalty. So yeah, we don't want to see anybody jamming up the pit entry, and certainly on pit exit. Now here's the I guess you can call it the quirky thing about the pit exit here at Sebring, is that coming out of pit lane sort of creates a blind spot in these GT1 cars, because you're coming out fairly quick. Okay, these drivers are going to have to keep an eye on those pit lane exit lights. When they are flashing blue, means that a car is approaching, and this pit lane exit puts you right out into the racing line. Turn 1, these cars are coming in hot and heavy. Those that are out on the racetrack and coming out of pit lane, you have to be careful and just stick it all the way to the right as far as you can for as long as you can, going up into turn 2, 3, 4, and 5. To make sure you don't mess up anybody else's race. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys do it here. We'll try and bring you all of the live action as much as possible, so that way you don't miss one detail of action. So Kim Damholt, who joined during qualifying 2, we do not know how much practice Kim has gotten around this track. Hopefully Kim did have an opportunity during the week to get as much practice in as possible. Practicing that pit entry. Very important here at Sebring. You don't want to get that stop and go penalty. It's 10 seconds, and with the competition level here at the United Racers League GT1 Series, 10 seconds can count as an eternity. You don't want the stop and goes, folks. So drivers, take it easy going into that pit lane. Now let's talk some ballast here. Whether it's success or penalty is to be determined, but Reinhard Berger's carrying around 40 kilograms. Tony Ukic, 20 kilos. Peter Backus, 20 kilos. Alex Scott, 20 kilos. Miko Korkiakowski, this is all success ballast, carrying around 80 kilos. Nika Simic, 30 kilos. Dragan Kosanic, 30 kilos. Dubravko Brzancic, 30 kilos. 40 kilos, and Anze Rast, also 40 kilos. Kim Damholt gets 60 kilos. So certainly going to be a factor around here for some of these drivers with that extra weight on their cars, trying to maximize their time and their speed around the track. Some of these corners, again, because Sebring is such a bumpy track and generates so much heat in these tires, that added ballast, as we see one of the 4 GTs kind of take it off the track there, does make a difference. And again, folks, my opinion here is that these mid-engine cars are going to be the ones to suffer with the heat. If This warm-up session is any indication of what the track temperature and ambient temperatures are going to be like. 36 degrees Celsius right now, dry, and an ambient of 30 degrees Celsius. Conditions are sunny, and the forecast calls for sunny skies, which means that the temperatures could rise during the race session. Time is going to tell. So we're winding down the warm-up session. 35 seconds left to go. On board with Peter Backus. Want to remind our online viewers, if there is someone that you want me to cover during the race, please do not hesitate to send me a chat through the chat room. Also, if you want to see live timing and scoring, you can go to our website, www.unitedracersleague.com, and click on live timing at the top. You can get the live timing off of the server there. And while we're at it, while we're on the subject of live timing and the website, I just do some house cleaning here. For those of you that are watching and those that will watch the rebroadcast, United Racers League does not charge for racing. Racing is free. However, maintaining this website and maintaining the services that we have here is not free. And we do have some faithful donors month after month that throw us a couple of bucks. So if you like what you see and you think it is a worthy cause, we do advocate, you know, throw us a couple of bucks, dig into your pocket, $5, $10 a month if you can, or whatever it is that you can give. Doesn't matter. No amount is too small. It always goes to help keep running the league, and it will also help facilitate improvements to the league. So we have some admins here that have done a phenomenal job at United Racers League. Alex Scott being one of them, Alex Fennell another, and that's just to name two of the many folks that are doing many things, many great things here at United Racers League. So again, if you get the opportunity and want to donate, we'd appreciate the support. So we move over to the race session, and we are now going to start the rundown order. Starting in pole, racing out of Germany, Reinhard Berger. Starting in second, racing out of Croatia, Tony Ukic. Starting in third, racing out of Slovak Republic by way of London, Peter Backus. Alex Scott from the UK will start in fourth. Ruan Joubert, racing out of South Africa, starts fifth. Mikko Korkiakowski, racing out of Finland, starts in sixth. Michał Klisch, starting seventh, racing out of Poland. And Nikola Simic, starting eighth. He is racing out of Serbia. Steen Mikkel Olsen will start ninth. Steen racing out of Denmark. And Florian Kutz, racing out of Germany, will be starting 10th. In 11th, Greg Metcalf. Greg racing out of London. Miguel Santiago Carao out of Belgium will start in 12th. Dragan Kosanic racing out of Serbia will start 13th. Manilo Liguri starting 14th, racing out of Italy. And Fabio Bartolai starting 15th will be racing out of Italy as well. Dubravko Brzancic starting 16th, Bosnia-Herzegovina. Sando Donadel starting 17th, will be racing out of Italy. Florin Manilok starting 18th, he's out of Romania. Alex Funel racing out of England will start 19th, and Anse Rast starting in 20th, racing out of Slovenia. And that, my friends, is your starting order. Oh, one more, Kim Damholt. Oh, we are ready to go. Sorry about that. Reinhard Berger with the early lead here. So Kim Damholt, who is starting last, does race out of Denmark. We did not want to miss that detail. And we will cycle through the field here. So it is Reinhard Berger leading the pack, Tony Ukic in second, his teammate Peter Backus in third. Mikko Korkiakowski quickly moves up to fourth, and Alex Scott down to fifth. Juan Joubert in sixth, Michał Klisch seventh, Greg Metcalf in eighth, Nikola Simic in ninth. Florian Kutz taking a look down the inside, almost gets back into the back of Nikolai Nikola Simic. Florian running in 10th. Steve Michelolsen in 11th. Manilo Liguri in 12th. Sando Donadel 13th. Dubravko Brzancic in 14th. Fabio 15th. Kim Damholten 16th moves up. Alex Fennell loses a spot to 17th. Miguel Santiago Corral, with some heavy damage in the front of that Ferrari. Must have had an incident, and Miguel very slowly creeping around this circuit. Not sure exactly what happened. I'm sure that we'll get the post-race report. But he may have a puncture. Yep, front left looks like it might be punctured. Not sure. Miguel just dropping like a stone in a pond as Dragan Kosanic goes by him for P20. So on board with your race leader, Reinhard Berger, as he comes around Sunset Bend. Tony Ukic and Peter Backus battling for second right now. We don't know if they are specific team orders, but not far behind them, Mikko Korkiakowski running in 4th. So we're starting to see a three-way battle for P2 shape up here. On board with Peter Backus right now as he chases his teammate Tony Ukic. I don't think that Peter's going to be too aggressive here. Team championship points are at stake here, so these guys are probably going to keep it as is. If an opportunity to get around Reinhard Berger does appear, I'm pretty sure that both these guys will take advantage. And I believe that the biggest advantage to this team right now is to work together to draft each other around the track and gain precious tenths of a second to Reinhardt's position. P5, Alex Scott being hounded right now by Mikhail Klisch, who is also being chased by Greg Metcalf. And boy, some of these cars have a very low setup, as you see the sparks just fly off the bottom of the chassis as they go over some of the high spots on this track. Down the back straightaway. Great drafting opportunity if you can tuck up under somebody's rear bumper. You can create an opportunity down at the end here at Sunset Bend, either on the inside or the outside. Now, one thing I will say is that these GT1 cars, when you break the draft, have a tendency to push, especially coming around Sunset Bend. Sunset Bend being a high-speed corner. Some of these front-engine, rear-wheel drive cars tend to be a little pushy through these corners. These long sweepers, such as turn 1. Juan Joubert in P8 right now, trying to hunt down Greg Metcalf coming into turns 3, 4, and 5. Nikola Simic in the Circus Lamborghini running in P9. Florian Kutz in P10 driving the Ford GT. Manilo Liguri racing out of Italy in the Porsche GT1 car, P11. Steen Michelolsen currently running at 12. Dubravko Brzancic currently running P13. Sando Donadel in 14. And here we have a battle between Fabio and Sando for P14 right now. As they come into the far corner, looks like Sando takes it a little bit wide. Fabio trying to capitalize, doesn't get it done. But now Alex Fennell, who has now made his way up to P16, tries to capitalize on both of these drivers ahead of him. We're going to stay here for a few seconds as this is a hotly contested battle right now for P14. Kim Damholten not being left out of this one. Now becomes a 4-5-way battle. Look at this, folks. Florent Manilok also in the back driving the McLaren F1. This is the long tail version. Very tight battle. Florent slides it into the corner, loses some tenths of a second there. Don't do it, Florent. Just keep it smooth and steady. You want to maximize the draft down this back straightaway into the Sunset Bend corner 17. So it is Sando. Oh! Alex Funnel finding the outside wall. Sando Donatel was the one that was leading this pack into the Sunset Bend. And now Miguel Santiago Carao also has an opportunity to gain a spot here as he takes a look on the outside of Alex Funnel. Dragan Kosanic also gaining some inroads to this pack, and it looks like Alex Funnel just took it off. Gets it back on the track. Take it easy, Alex. Take it easy. There's plenty of racing still left to be had. So now, Kim Damholt and Florin Manolak, Miguel Santiago Carao, Alex Funnel, all battling, and Dragan Kosanic, all battling for that P14 spot. Moving up the field right now, Nikola Simic in P9, Juan Joubert in 8th, Mikhail Klisch in 7th, Greg Metcalf, Alex Scott. These guys are all battling for precious positions. Alex Scott now coming under pressure from Greg Metcalf, coming under pressure from Mikhail Klisch, coming under pressure from Juan Joubert, coming under pressure from Nikola Simic. And look at this, Florian Kutz now gaining inroads to this pack up front. Florian Kutz through Sunset Bend, and this is where you can make or lose time, folks. You want to take this as tight as possible, slow in, fast out. So up front, the battle for the lead still rages on, with Reinhard Berger running first, Tony Ukic in second, and Tony has not allowed Reinhard any room to breathe. Reinhard has his mirrors full of Lister Storm. Peter Backus also with a great run right behind his teammate. This is phenomenal racing, folks. Phenomenal racing. And it looks like Tony Ukic might have a little bit of damage, yep, on the driver's side of that Lister Storm. Don't think it's causing too much of a problem here, as he's not allowed the race leader, Mr. Reinhard Berger, out of his sights. So we'll follow Reinhard around the track a little bit here. You see those brake discs glowing. That's how hot and heavy these guys are getting on the brakes. Trail braking being of great benefit to a lot of these fast drivers. Your race leader, Reinhard Berger, being chased by the two Lister Storms of Tony Ukic and Peter Backus. Peter Backus almost finding the inside wall there. I don't think that was intentional. So now the two front runners putting a little bit of a gap between themselves and P3. Could it be that just after 5 laps we're starting to see some small tire wear on the Lister Storm? I would hope not. Taking a look back at scoring and timing, track temperature is 37 degrees Celsius and an ambient of 30. These are great temperatures and ambient conditions for these cars. Reinhard Berger, race pace running 154s. Tony Ukic having the fastest lap at a 153.9, also consistently running 154s. Peter Backus slipping back a little bit with a 154.5. So now Alex Scott, after having some slower laps with 155s, 156, has improved to a 154. So folks, we're gonna keep it up here with the top 3 for the moment right now. And again, anybody on the broadcast, if you want me to cover somebody, just let me know. And I will do my best to cover them for you. On the chase cam with Tony Ukic right now, who has been chasing down your race leader, Reinhard Berger, now going through Sunset Bend just a little slower than your race leader. Looks like Reinhard gets a little bit of breathing room, but not by much. 1.2 seconds separating your top 2. So the race for P5 rages on, still behind the race leaders, as Mikhail Klisch in P7, chasing down Greg Metcalf in P6, chasing down Alex Scott in P5. Not too far behind them, Juan Joubert running in P8, driving the other Maserati MC12. Coming into turn 7. Nikola Simic driving the Circus Lamborghini, P9. And Florian Goods trying to chase down Nicolas. Steen Mikkel Olsen running in P11. Manilo Liguri in P12. Dubravko Brzancic in P13. Kim Damholt in 14th. Now, mind you, Kim started from the back of the pack. So good on you, Kim, for making the progress that you have made here tonight. Just behind Kim, Miguel Santiago Carao being chased by Dragan Kosanic now. Florin Manolok in P17, Fabio Portalay in P18, Alex Funnel in 19th, Sando Donadel in 20th, Anze Rast in 21st. That is your running order, folks. Back up front with your leader, Tony Ukic, Peter Backus, 1, 2, and 3 coming around Sunset Bend. Behind Peter Backus for a little bit. Oh, Peter taking a look on the inside of Tony Ukic. Tony Ukic took it a little bit wide, had a bobble there, cost him some tenths of a second. So your top 3 still running very close, and it looks like Mikko Korkiakoski now starting to make some slight inroads. Let's take a look at Mikko's times. He's consistently 154s, fastest lap of 154.36. So we're going to cycle through the field here and find out if there are any other close battles that are raging on right now. We know that Alex Scott running P5, still being hounded by Greg Metcalf, Mikhail Klisch, and now Juan Joubert. These guys have closed the gap just a little bit between themselves. Not sufficient enough to get a good draft down the back straightaway. And again, Sunset Bend, a very difficult corner when you're coming in hot and heavy. Race is scheduled for 34 laps. Currently working lap 8. So a bit of a battle. Oh! Nicolas Simic finds the inside wall. He loses some precious time to Steen Mikkel Olsen. But Steen unable to capitalize. That no doubt is going to put some damage on the side of this Lamborghini that Nicolas Simic is driving. Plenty of great battles that are still going on. Let's move up front to your race leaders. So now Reinhard Berger just kind of cruising out here a little bit. Driving one of my favorite cars, the Chevrolet Corvette C6R GT1. Still hoping that we get a car pack sometime in the near future that will have the new C7R race car. Chevrolet Corvette for GT1 or GT3, doesn't matter. Mikko with a lot of weight ballast, trying to catch your top three, unable to do so. Very difficult with that much weight, although for a very respectable spot, very respectable position. You cannot take anything away from Mikko Korkiakowski with the run that he's having today, driving the older Corvette C5. And now Greg Metcalf gets into P5. Don't know what happened to Alex Scott, Juan Hubert. Let's see. Oh, Alex Scott must have had a moment. Sorry that we missed it, folks. But Alex Scott has dropped down to P11. Must have had an off. Oh, and the front of that Maserati MC12 is smashed to pieces. That no doubt is going to have a huge effect on aero around this track. And with some of these long sweepers, I'm pretty sure that Alex Scott is going to want to get that fixed when he comes into the pits for his pit cycle. But now he's going to have challenges as other drivers without damage, such as Manilo Liguri, might have an opportunity to gain some position here. Another very close battle ensuing. Dragan Kosanic chasing down Kim Damhold. Kim Damhold getting around Dragan for that P15 spot. So I guess Kim did have the sufficient practice during the off week to get a good setup for that Porsche GT1 car around this track. Which again, it's not very easy. Mid-engine cars, they are notorious for chewing up them rear tires. Wow, and Dragon all over Kim's tail. They go side by side into this corner. Trying to get the edge to get onto the back straightaway, but Dragon, you want to draft here. Get behind that Porsche GT1 and just draft. So a little bit of distance between 16th and 15th. Doesn't look like he's going to get it done coming into the Sunset Bend corner. Although it looks like the advantage goes to Dragan. He's going to try and take the inside line. Oh! On the bumper cam. This is phenomenal racing, folks. Phenomenal racing. As they come into turn one, trying to keep the race line. Those tires screeching at their limits. As you can see, Dragan Kosanic going over one of the curbs. Those curbs have a tendency to upset these cars around here. These curbs are very high. Quick downshift in the Lamborghini. folks. Doesn't matter if you are in a heated battle for P1 or P20. Oh, they touch. Dragon gonna check up and allow Kim Damhold to maintain that position. So it doesn't matter if you are racing for P1 or P20. The competition is real, folks. The cars might be virtual, but the competition is very real, and Dragan is going to get it done. What a great run by Dragan Kosanic to take over P15 from Kim Damhold driving Porsche GT1 car. And now Dragan Kosanic has his sights set on Dubravko Brzancic. So Dubravko, he's going to have to keep it clean here because it looks like Dragan is making some quick inroads to his position. And we might have another heated battle ensuing here shortly. So we're going to move up the field here. Miguel Santiago Carao running pretty much by himself out in P13. He's got some damage to the front of that 550 Maranello, which could be hurting his times for sure around here. Alex Scott back in P11 after some sort of an off, and again, heavy damage to the front of the Maserati MC12. So, as we are closing out lap 11 and now working on lap 12, we're not going to be too far from the pit rotations for some of these drivers. Mikhail Klisch going to try the old over-under. Can he make it stick? Greg Metcalf stating, nah, not going to work. Mikhail able to go deep into the braking zone with that Porsche GT1 car. Moving up the running order, Mikko Korkiakowski still running P4. Peter Backus in P3, Tony Ukic P2, and your race leader Reinhard Berger in P1. Now Reinhard has had the lead from the drop of the green flag around Sebring. Doesn't look like he's willing to give that spot up for anybody, and he's just having a great run. Now mind you, winning this race will give Reinhard a hefty dose of success ballast for the next round. So certainly that's got to be playing into his point strategy here for the season nonetheless, but Reinhard Berger with a great run. Fantastic run around Sebring today. And he is now starting to gap Tony Ukic in P2. So after about 12, almost 13 laps complete, looks like some of the tire wear is starting to set in on these cars. We're scheduled for 34 laps here tonight. And Reinhard Berger's gap to P2 Tony Ukic has now increased to 2.1 seconds. Go back to that P14 battle. As I told you earlier, Dragan closing in on Dubravko, and oh, it looks like Dubravko giving the lights. Gonna try and let him by. Yep, Dubravko's just gonna give it up. No, you fight for your life for that position, Dubravko. Even if he's got pace on you, make him work for it just a little bit. I'm not saying to ruin the race. Oh, and Dragan bites it. Gets into the wall, loses 2 spots down to P16, and it looks like he's got heavy damage. Dragan is going to park it. That's a shame. So we lose Dragan. Unfortunately, through no fault of anybody but his own, So everybody behind Dragan will go ahead and inherit one spot up. And now the battle for P14 is between Kim Damholt and Dubravko. It certainly looks like Dubravko's rear tires, or maybe even the front tires, are starting to show signs of wear here. As Dubravko has to baby it around turn number 7, which is somewhat of a hairpin turn. Moving up the field here, Manilo Liguri, Alex Scott still in 11, Steen Mikkel Olsen in 10th, Nikola Simic in 9th, Florian Kutz in 8th, Ruan Joubert still holding down P7, Mikhail Klish in 6th, Greg Metcalf in P5. Top 3 still running about 3 seconds apart from 1 to 3. It is still a fairly close battle, and this now makes me think who is going to actually request a pit for the blue light to get into the pits when the pit rotations start. My guess is that these top 3 are going to want to pit together in hopes of one jumping the other in the pits. Not sure how that's going to work out, but I would assume here that Reinhard Berger may be the one to get the pit request light before anybody else when he is ready to go. And we are currently working lap 15, so again, I'd say within the next 2 to 3 laps, maybe even 4 laps, we should start seeing some of these leaders, your front runners, start coming into the pits as Reinhard Berger now turns on the lights for a back marker. Coming up on Anze Rast, also with a heavy damage to the front of that Ferrari F40 car. Sando Donadel taking a DNF. Oh, with suspension damage. So sorry, Sando. Battle for P2 position heating up between teammates Peter Backus and Tony Lukic. Cycling through the field here, folks. Oh, and your first driver into the pits, Miguel Santiago Carao. Did not see him come off the jacks. Is Miguel double stinting? Miguel leaving the pits in P18. He's going to look to be making up some spots as some of the other cars start coming in for their pit rotations because he is still on the lead lap. Oh, I'm sorry, he's 1 lap down because of his pit, but should gain that lap back once the leaders come in and pit. Raging battle for P14 between Fabio Bartolai and Dubravko Brzancic. Kim Damhold coming through Sunset Bend. Mikhail Klisch now into the pits. Is your race leader, Reinhard Berger, going to make his way into the pits this time around? We'll have to see. Stay on board with P3 on the chase cam. Looking ahead at your leaders. Let's see what's going to happen here on this lap. Will Reinhard Berger slow, or will he? No, Reinhard Berger is going to stay out. And so will P2 and P3. Tony Ukic and Peter Backus. So they're going to give it a go, another go. Miko Korkiakowski also staying out. And P5, Greg Metcalf going to bring it into the pits. Ruan Joubert, P6, going to bring it into the pits. Interesting strategies going on here, folks. Not exactly sure what the thought process is, but these guys feel that if they pit now, they might have the advantage, or they took just enough fuel to get to where they are right now. Nikola Simic is now going to inherit P6 as he stays out in the Circus Lamborghini. Alex Scott stays out. Heavy damage to the front of that Maserati MC12. I believe he's going to want to get that taken care of when he comes into the pits. Manilo Liguri in P8. Steen Mikkel Olsen also coming in P11 right now. Kim Damhold having a fantastic race up in P12. Fabio Bartolai in P13 being chased by Dubravko Brzancic. Now, mind you, Dubravko coming into the pits now. Kim Damhold, they've been having a wicked battle for that P13 spot. So, gonna have to see how it works out here in the pits. And Kim Damhold goes up on the jacks. And Florin Manilok also in P16 comes into the pits. Miguel Santiago Carao already pitted. He is coming through the S's right now onto the back straight. Has an opportunity here to be at full speed when some of these cars are coming out of pit lane. Hanse Rast running in 18th. Alex Fulano in 19th. Greg Metcalf, having already pitted, is back out in P10. Steen Mikkel Olsen out in P13. Kim Damhold is now taking off. He's coming out in P15. Dubravko is off the jacks and on his way out. So you have Nikola Simic in the pits, Florian Kutz in the pits, Florin Manilok in the pits, and Hanse Rast in the pits right now. What is your leader going to do? We will stay on board with Reinhard right now to see what Reinhard is going to do. Will Reinhard be pitting, or will he be taking another lap? Did he set up his car for fuel economy? running his tank dry to the very last drop. And it looks like Reinhardt going to be bringing it in. No, Reinhardt stays out yet another lap. So, looks like Reinhardt may have had the car set up for fuel economy along with Tony Ukic and Peter Backus. Anze Ross coming out as the leaders go by. Mikko Korkiakowski in P4 still has not pitted as well. Fabio Bartolai is currently running P5, has also not pitted as yet. Greg Metcalf did have his pit already, as did Mikal, Ruan. Does not look like Florian Kutz has pitted as yet with a 2:05 last lap. Let's jump on board Florian. Florian running within the top 10 right now. So Florian still has not pitted. And I know that that Ford GT has to be running low on fuel as well as degrading tires at this point. Track temperature only increased one degree to 38 and the ambient has remained the same. So pretty static weather for this race here at Sebring, Florida tonight. What will Florian be doing this lap around? Hard on the throttle, so Florian is going to stay out. Fabio comes into the pits. Ruan Joubert still out. Mikhail Klisch out. Greg Metcalf. Mikko Korkiakowski. Peter Backus comes in. Tony Ukic is going to stay out, as is your race leader. So it looks like Peter Backus is the one who ran low on fuel first. Gonna bring it into the pits, or perhaps a strategy to get in and out earlier than the race leaders. So now, Tony Ukic still chasing down your race leader, Mr. Reinhard Berger. Sorry about that, folks. We were on mute for quite some time. Reinhard Berger taking it off the track there. So very sorry. We were running through the order. We were running through the race order here. Reinhard Berger in first, Tony Ukic second, Miko in third. And we were talking about Miko having the advantage now, having pitted earlier, so I think he took on fresh rubber. Peter Backus in fourth, Greg Metcalf in fifth, Mikhail Klisch in sixth, Ruan Joubert in seven, Florian Kutz in eighth, Alex Scott in nine, Steen Mikkel Olsen in 10, Miguel Santiago Carao in 11, Nikola Simic in 12th, Kim Damholt running 13, Dubravko Brzancic in 14, Florin Manolak in 15, Fabio Bartolai in 16, Manilo Liguri in 17, and Anze Rast bringing up the rear of the field in 18th. And it looks like Reinhard Berger going to put Anze down one lap here again. Reinhard Berger running a brilliant race here, even in his pit strategy. And Anze seeing the blue flag and the marshals waving the blue flag along the side of the track is going to give way to your race leader, Reinhard Berger. A little further back, P2, Tony Ukic. Tony, having gotten that damage on the driver's side of the car repaired while he was in the pits. Mikko Korkiakowski running in P3, Peter Backus in P4, trying to chase down a weight-laden Korkiakowski. And so this is probably one of the closest battles on the track right now, because they're separated by about 3 seconds. As is Mikhail Klisch and Greg Metcalf. Mikhail losing a little bit of traction there, causing a slide through Sunset Bend. So, looks like the battle for P3, the last podium spot, is truly starting to heat up. Peter Backus looking on the inside of one of the Porsche GT1 cars. And gets through, now has his sights set on Mikko Korkiakowski. I can only imagine Mikko saying, why me, why me? Must I be having all of this weight in my car? Because it certainly does make an effect, especially out of these types of corners, which is second gear. And having to lay down the power is not very easy. Not when you're carrying all that weight. So we still have some laps here, folks, and it looks like Peter Backus, not happy with settling for fourth, is going to try and make a run at your P3 runner right now, Mikko Korkiakowski. Go on board. And Peter Backus now within the slipstream of Korkiakowski. Will he get a run down here, down the back, at the end of the back straight, going into Sunset Bend? Takes a peek on the inside, swings wide as they come around Sunset Bend. He's going to try the over-under. He's got the inside line. As they both have to let off. Oh, they touch going into turn number 1. Peter out braking, but he takes it wide, gets on the grass. Oh. Oh, Miko having to check up. And I believe Miko giving the lights to Peter Backus. Does not look like Miko was very pleased with that pass. So now in this heated battle, the onus is on Peter Backus to maintain his lead over Miko Korkakowski. Clearly, Peter Backus has some advantage, does not have the weight that Miko has, so if those tires on the Lister Storm do not give out on him, he will have the advantage here because Peter Backus is double stinted on his tires. Now the next battle is shaping up for P5 between Mikhail Klisch and Greg Metcalf. Now this has been a battle since the word go today, folks. These two have been one right behind the other from the very first lap. Alex Scott now makes his way up to P9 after having gotten all that damage repaired. Alex Scott going to be looking to make up some serious time here, pushing as hard as he possibly can. Don't overdrive it though, Alex. As we are currently working lap 27 out of 34, so it looks like we have about 7 laps yet to go before this race is put into the record books. We shall see. So aside from the mishap that Alex Scott had earlier, he does make up 2 positions in the pits coming out, and now he is on a tear of a drive. Steen Mikkel Olsen in the top 10 will round out the top 10 currently. And remember, folks, everything right now is provisional because the race is not over. Miguel Santiago Carao in 11th, and now being hunted down by Nikola Simic, driving the Circus Lamborghini. And it does not mean that that Lamborghini Murcielago came from the circus. It just means that it's bright and colorful, and it's got the colors of a circus, so we call it the Circus Lamborghini. Just want to clarify that. But there's nothing funny about the power and speed that that car can carry through these corners and down the straightaway. So, current time in the United Kingdom, 9:29 p.m. and a sunny 4:29 p.m. here in Sebring, Florida. So, quite the battle between Miguel Santiago Carao and Nikolai Simic. Nikolai almost getting into the back of Miguel, and that puts an end to this chase. We will move on. So now Mikhail Klisch gaining some valuable real estate on Greg Metcalf, now right up on his rear bumper. And boy, I gotta tell you that Greg Metcalf has been running the race line the entire night, stealing the fast line around this track away from Mikhail Klisch. Mikal not able to get around that Corvette C6Rs yet. Mikal taking a look to the inside to see where that braking zone is. So now here's an interesting development. So Reinhard Berger, no doubt, has probably been trying to run conservatively the second stint now to preserve tires. That 8.5-second lead has now dwindled down to 3.2 seconds. So what is Reinhard to do at this point? We've got approximately 5 laps left to go. And as hard as Tony Ukic is pushing, a lot can happen in 5 laps. 5 laps is an eternity here in GT1, folks. But Reinhard Berger just running his race right now and not giving probably too much thought to P2. Not giving too much thought to the P2 car of Tony Ukic at this point. But I'm sure he's seen his rearview mirror because Tony Ukic still closing that gap. Tony Ukic, no doubt, pushing very hard, trying to close the gap to Reinhard Berger. And here we go. It looks like Tony Ukic going deeper into the braking zone than Reinhard Berger did with that Corvette. Looks like he's going to close that gap even further as each lap goes by. Now Reinhard Berger closing the racing line, closing those gaps to the curbs and running a very, very tight line. Timing and scoring showing Tony Ukic in P4. Oh, there we go. Something squirrely certainly happening with our scoring and timing here, folks. I apologize for that because momentarily there it showed that Peter Backus was in P2. So we want to apologize for that squirrely scoring and timing, but we've got a battle going on now for the lead between Tony Ukic and Reinhard Berger running out front. And I'll bet you that Tony Ukic is sitting in his house right now with his palms sweaty, and he's sweating up a storm from all the adrenaline of trying to catch Reinhard Berger. What Tony Ukic will need here to try and pass Reinhard in these closing laps is a good dose of luck and a phenomenal drive without any mistakes. And so Tony Ukic certainly within Reinhard Berger's slipstream as Reinhard tries to break the draft. Reinhard stays on the racing line, as does Tony Ukic. Slow in, fast out. These guys with a great line coming out of Sunset Bend. Down into second gear through this corner. 3, 4, and 5. Tony Ukic now well within the slipstream of Reinhard Berger's Corvette. He's going to take a look down the outside. Reinhardt's going to defend the inside line. And they go through in the same positions. No change of position, but now Reinhard Berger forced to defend very heavily his lead here as we are closing these laps out. Lap 31 with about 3 laps left to go. Will Reinhard have enough to keep Tony Ukic behind him? 3 laps can seem like an eternity here, folks. Who is going to crack first? I'm hoping nobody, but this is a great battle that's going on. My, oh my, oh my. Tony Ukic all over the rear bumper of Reinhard Berger's Corvette. Oh, a little bit of a bobble by Tony Ukic, but it doesn't slow him down too much. Reinhard taking far to the inside, trying to break the draft, and swings back wide. Tony Ukic is just going to follow him. Reinhard with an absolute brilliant strategy to keep Tony Ukic behind him down this back stretch, going into Sunset Bend. But who's got the better grip coming out of this corner? And again, Reinhard breaking the draft, increasing the drive distance between his car and Tony's car. These two guys are going at it tooth and nail, folks. Unrelenting and not giving an inch one to the other. Tony Ukic, no doubt, trying to gain the advantage. He may have wore out those tires. Mind you, these two guys are double stinted on their tires. He might have worn out the usable grip on those tires now in these closing laps, trying to put a move on Reinhard Berger. Back quickly. We're just going to cycle through the field, give everybody a little camera time here. And back up to your race leaders. 34 laps scheduled, currently working on lap 32, so with about 2 laps, not even 1.5 laps. Oh, Tony Ukic taking a look on the inside. It's not going to get it done. That is the slower line, Tony. You got to go around the outside. And Peter Backus up to P3. Gaining some ground. It looks like Tony Ukic gave it his all. Starting to let Reinhard slip away. This might be it, folks. This might be the last lap. And it has come down to this. It has come down to the wire. Who is going to take the crown here at Sebring, Florida, Sebring International Raceway tonight? Peter Backus still a ways back. Not going to get it done. If this is the last lap, then this is how we'll probably finish this race out here tonight. Oh, Tony Ukic with a slide into turn 7, giving Reinhard Berger the advantage to pull away. And if this is the last lap, that's it. It's done. It's over. Unless Reinhard makes some crazy mistake, which he has not done tonight, this is pretty much a done deal. And you can tell that Tony Ukic having to overcorrect the car coming out of the corners because the horsepower in these cars is no jokes, folk. Reinhard Berger locking up the rear tires going into that turn. as they come around the turn to put them onto the back stretch. Reinhard Berger knowing very well that he's got this in hand. Circus Lamborghini getting out of the way. Oh, they get real close. Who's got the juice coming down the front straight? As we see the checker flag, and Reinhard Berger is going to take this one. What a phenomenal race. Peter Backus comes home in third. Mikko Korkiakowski running in fourth. Mikko with a brilliant race, carrying all that success ballast with him. There is the checkered flag for Mikko. Greg Metcalf will finish in P5. Mikhail Klisch will finish in 6th. Florian Kutz in 7th. Alex Scott making another position up in 8th for some very important points. Ruan Joubert, his teammate, in 9th. Steen Mikkel Olsen in 10th. Miguel Santiago Carao in 11th. Nikola Simic in 12th, Kim Damho 13th, Zdravko Brzancic in 14th, Florin Manolak in 15th, Fabio Bartolai 16th, Manilo Liguri in 17th, Anze Rast in 18th, Alex Funnel with a DNF in 19th, Sando Donadel also with suspension problems will finish out in 20th, and that is your running order, folks. So, from the Sebring International Raceway, I want to thank everybody for having joined us here for this great race. I hope that you enjoyed the broadcast. Once again, your race winner, Reinhard Berger, Tony Ukic coming in a very close second, just 2/100ths of a second behind, and Peter Backus about 5 seconds back. That is your podium, folks. So don't forget that in 2 weeks, we will bring you round 10 of season 8, GT1 Racing United Racers League. Until then, I am Ken Rodriguez. Thanks for watching.